Hi, this is Tim from UK Home Gym, your home for UK specific independent home gym tips and advice. And today I'm going to talk you through the basics of building a DIY cable system. And I think that there is a really important subject to mention on this front, and that is the kind of pulley that you need to choose. I don't see that talked about very often, and I do think it makes a really big difference to the way to your experience basically with a DIY cable system. So let's go on and talk a little bit about what is a DIY cable system, and why do you need one. If you're used to training in a commercial gym, you're probably used to using like a cable machine or whatever, and if you then transition to having a home gym instead, you're probably going to have a mainly sort of free weight kind of system set up there. Maybe some people prefer to just buy a cable station and do most of their work on a cable station. I don't think that's practical for most people. I think most people will build something based on free weights, barbells and dumbbells and so on, and then maybe sort of add a DIY cable system a bit later. I might do a separate video on how to create a sort of a more sophisticated DIY cable system, but I'm going to focus on a real basic one today, and then we can maybe use that as a sort of test to see which kind of pulley you should go for, because there's no point starting off with your cable system and then having buying lots of the wrong kind of pulley. So I think you really need to be careful on that front. What we'll do is we're going to test 3 different kinds of pulley using the most basic, the most simple kind of DIY cable setup you can create. So to create a DIY cable system, this is what you'll need. You're going to need a loading pin. You're going to need some carabiners. I think 2 may be enough, but 3 is even better. You will need like a strap, a sort of nylon fabric strap with D-ring attachments on either side of them. And then you'll need a pulley. So I've got 3 different pulleys I'm going to put to the test today. Then you'll need an attachment. I've got the rope attachment here. And then you'll need some weight plates. Now, depending on the loading pin that you've got, if you've got a 2-inch loading pin, you'll need 2-inch plates. Sometimes you can get the 2-inch plates onto the 1-inch loading pin, but probably better to match them up if you can. How do we create our DIY cable setup? Well, what you need to do is you need an anchor point above you. Okay, so in my case, I used the squat rack for this experiment, but you could use, like, if you've got a ceiling beam, that would be fine. If you've got a pull-up bar, that would be okay, as long as it's sturdy, as long as it's something that's going to be able to take a downward force, then you'll be fine. Now, I'm going to create a cable setup that really you could only really use for tricep push downs, because it's going to be very much a downward force only thing. There's not going to be an anchor point where you can pull something towards you. There's not going to be something where you can pull something from underneath you. It's just going to be a very simple one where you're just the force is all downwards onto your anchor point. Okay, so you need to make sure that anchor point is sturdy enough to take whatever weight you're going to load onto the pin and whatever force you're going to exert to pull it down. So all you need to do is you need to get the fabric attachment, put it around. Well, I put it around my pull-up bar here on which is mounted on squat rack. Then you put a carabiner on that. You attach to the carabiner your pulley of choice, and then you are going to thread through your cable. You put your cable through there. On one end, you're going to attach that to the loading pin, and on the other end, you're going to attach it to the attachment. The cable that I have for this, I bought it. I mean, you can buy like a cable, and you can like cut it to the length that you desire. And then you can use like a tool. Some of these have little kits where you can just sort of like you sort of fasten it to itself using a little attachment that they send to you. or I find it a lot cheaper to just buy the ready-made one. My one has a little sort of ball stopper on there. I don't really like that ball stopper. I think I put it on the wrong way around in the video that you're going to see. But anyway, you don't really need that ball stopper on there. I think that you can just use your eyes to judge where you're going to stop pulling, particularly on a tricep pull down. I don't think it makes a big difference. Anyway, so that's how you make a very basic cable system. Really cheap, really easy. You can buy all of the parts together, in these little sets or whatever that you may find on Amazon or eBay or AliExpress or whatever. Their price sort of fluctuates. Sometimes they go on sale, and sometimes it's cheaper to buy the whole set at once. But sometimes it's cheaper to buy the component parts. And, for me, I've bought loads of different component parts. I've bought loads of sets when they've been on sale as well. And I just sort of mash them together to create sort of Frankenstein's monster of all sorts of different systems. So I really do like using the cables when I can. Anyway, the focus of this video, again, as I said, is the pulleys themselves. And I think that you really need to be careful when you choose your pulleys, because, as I said, if you buy a bunch of the wrong pulleys, you'll find them useless. And so I've decided to put three types of pulley to the test today. The first one of those is like a fully metal one with a metal wheel and a metal casing. And then the next two are like a plastic wheel, but a metal casing. One of those is is a smaller one, and one of those is a very sort of large wheel, okay? That sort of large wheel is the kind that I've seen on many home gym kind of focused cable machines. So which of these three do you think would be the best? Now, my instinct would have been go with all metal when possible and avoid any kind of plastic, because plastic can wear, it can break, it'll let you down. I've made a whole video about this. And particularly the metal ones, some of those can take an enormous amount of load. So you'll never really be able to max them out. They can take quite a lot of more than you'll be able to fit on a loading pin, basically. So that was my instinct, was that one would be better. The next one I thought that would be good would be the big plastic wheel, because, as I said, I've seen it on a lot of cable machines intended for home gym users, and I thought that the smaller plastic wheel with the metal casing would probably be the least good. But it turns out that's not the case. It turns out that the worst performing of all of these, for me, and I've tried a few of these before actually, is the metal. And I find the reason for this is, the fully metal version, it just doesn't turn very well. It doesn't move very smoothly. It doesn't matter how much oil you put on there. It doesn't matter what you try and do to it. It's a very grindy kind of movement. And particularly if you're used to using a cable machine in a commercial gym, I think that you'll find that really quite unpleasant, really. So, in my experience, not really a good pick. Unfortunately, as I said, I really try and avoid plastic whenever possible in a home gym setting. In second place, another big surprise was actually the larger of the two plastic wheel and metal casing options. Even though this is a bigger pulley and it looks like it should do the job better, it's good. It's very, very good, but it's just not quite, it's not quite as smooth as the winner. And the winner is the smaller sort of plastic one wheel with a metal casing. And I find that really, 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 really smooth. And I've basically bought loads of those after having used a few different ones. And although I do have a few of the larger varieties, I do use them every now and then. basically, I try and use as many as possible of those sort of smaller ones. I find that the wheel is very resilient. It has got a little bit of wear and tear around the outside on the rim, but I don't find that touches the cable and causes any fraying. It feels very smooth to pull, and I think that having used so many of these pulleys in all sorts of different experimental ways to try and get the sort of cable setup of my dreams, this is the one to go for. So, if you're umming and ahhing about it, my advice is, if you want a good one, get the larger one, the larger plastic wheel with a metal casing. But if you want the very best, get that smaller one. And as I said, these are super generic. I can't recommend a brand or anything like that. I really feel like they were all made in the same factory, to be honest with you. So that's about it. I mean, I think that you can expand and go a lot further than this and create a cable setup that is a lot more sophisticated and that you can use for other things. For instance, a lat pull down, you can use it for low rows. But I think that takes a little bit more sort of engineering, and I think that maybe I'll go into that in another video. So that's all for today's video. I wonder if you have tried any of these pulleys or if you have tried to create a DIY cable system in the way that I've showed today. Maybe you'd like to follow these instructions and see if it works for you. If it does, please let me know in the comments below. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Please check out our website, that's ukhomegym.com, and I'll see you next time on UK Home Gym.